Ahoy there, Captain Benzie here, coming at you with a second video for Eve Echoes today. Yes, I am screwing with the YouTube algorithm just to make sure I give you guys all of the content you need so that we go into exploration as fully equipped and armed as possible. Now that means you may have got the notification for this video and not the first one, and I promise you this video is not going to make much sense if you haven't watched the other one. So I'm going to put a link on screen now that will take you to the video where I talk about and discuss the exploration info update, because basically NetEase put out all of this cool information about exactly how exploration, nihilist space, permanent magnetic objects, dead space modules, and nanocores, etc. are all going to work. After I'd recorded a video and uploaded it and done all the background stuff, they then added the patch notes. So rather than redo that entire video, I'm adding the patch notes on here. So go watch that one first, then come back and watch this one. That's your final warning. We are going to jump straight into the patch notes here because this is really, really cool and I am super duper excited. Now, optimizations. Number one, improved the detail page of supply boxes. Now, when they talk about supply boxes here, I'm thinking, is this like the skins and things like that, where it actually allows you to have a look at what those modules and skins or things actually do and look like? I have a feeling that's what's meant by supply boxes, like when, for example, you have the rig supply boxes, the ones that you open up and you get your choice of navigation or engineering and yada yada yada. And then inside those, obviously, you can choose different prototype rigs. If there's more detail given to those, I'm all for that, because it's nice to be able to see what's going on in there, rather than trying to have to remember everything and just work out what it all is. So that's a good change. 2. Added space exploration technology, advanced space exploration technology, and expert space exploration technology skills to natural science exploration. This is where the archaeology skills used to be. It's on the right-hand side of the screen, so it's going to be the first set of skills that my main pilot has that are not on the combat side of the skill tree, which I'm actually pretty excited about to branch out and have that there. So we now have names for them. Space exploration technology. That is the stuff I think that is going to be affecting your ability to scan and avoid being scanned, that kind of thing. Number 3, changed the covert ops hull bonuses of each level from scan strength to +1 to 5% reduction of resonance scanner minimum scan radius and 5% reduction of narrow resonance scanner scan radius. So this looks like basically what's going on here is the ability for the covert ops ships. They have like +1 scan strength currently. That's being changed to a 5% reduction to the scan radius required to actually trigger the warning that you're being scanned. That makes a lot of sense. It's a covert ops ship. You want to get that warning if someone is scanning you down if you're not already cloaked. As far as I'm aware, if you're cloaked, you will still not be able to be scanned at all. But even if you're not cloaked because you're running a mission or something, you will have it's a smaller radius that they need to meet before you get the warning. So you're more likely to get a warning if you're in a covert ops cruiser or covert ops frigate, which I think is pretty cool. That's a good way of giving covert ops. If only we had some covert ops destroyers though, right? Number 4, now interbus and ore ships in cosmic anomalies drop Mark 7 and Mark 9 resonance scanners. So when you finish off a Mark 7 or Mark 9 or these higher level encounters that have those at the end, like the Nereus combats and the ventures and things that you can kill, they will now have a chance of dropping the different resonance scanners. And we know from earlier that could be the wide area resonance scanners, the WARs, or the narrow area resonance scanners, NARS, WARs and NARS. I'm going to keep saying this until people start drilling into it. Those will drop in those anomalies, so that's how you're going to get them. Mark 7, I think, starts dropping at tech level 6 above, so at tech level 6 plus anomalies, you'll be able to get Mark 7 and Mark 9 resonance scanners, which, there we are, that's how you get it. The Devout Supply Chest, Soldier Supply Chest, Investor Supply Chest, and Survivor Supply Chest, which are the storyline mission supply chests, now drop Scholar Narrow Resonance Scanners, Scholar Wide Resonance Scanners, Explorer Narrow Resonance Scanners, and Explorer Wide Resonance Scanners. So the Scholar variants are meta level 5 green loot, and Explorer are meta level 8 green loot. And remember, these are supply chests, so they will get updates there to the amount of detail shown on them when you open them up. Hopefully we'll get some percentage chances actually displayed so we know how rare these actually are. I'm looking forward to seeing a load of these drop. Again, I will put out the message, if you're not interested overly in scanning and exploration and you happen to get one of these, please do let me know. I would love to have a little stockpile of these so I can start showcasing this as soon as possible. You guys helping me to find these modules helps me put out some tutorials to help other players much faster. So I'm just going to say that there. If you can donate these to me, just literally contract them to @Captain Benzie. Any high-sec or low-sec station will do nicely. I will quite happily come and grab and collect those with a massive thank you and a shout out if it's yours that I'm using. Anyway, so on the fitting screen, the original targeting range display, which is always 1,000 kilometers because this is Eve Echoes, has been changed to signature radius, and the original signature radius display has been changed to source radius. So, I want to stand up here, put up a little imaginary middle finger and say, I told you. I told a lot of people were like, oh, it's just it's just NetEase being idiots and not speaking English properly. No, I said that signature radius and source radius were going to be two separate things that are linked together, but are not the same thing. There are going to be things that allow you to reduce your source radius, but don't reduce your signature radius, etc. Source radius is entirely related to scanning, and it appears to be mainly about the narrow area radius resonance scanner. When you're scanning down other ships, your source radius needs to be smaller than theirs, or they will get a notification that you are scanning them, etc. Of course, we'll go into more depth on this once I've got my hands on it, and I'm doing a proper episode of the Catskull Academy on it. Number 7, Nihilus Dead Space drops more experiment data, which is used to reverse engineer pirate faction nanocores. So experiment data appears to be what we are going to be using to actually, like when you reverse engineer a wreck, or rather when you reprocess a wreck, it becomes like different things that you use for rigs. You then get data cores that you use to reverse engineer blueprints. It looks like we're going to get experiment data, which is like data cores, that you use to reverse engineer nanocores, and that's pretty cool. Number 8, reverse engineering jobs for pirate faction nanocores have now been added. This is the ability to actually open up your reverse engineering part of the industry panel and actually access those reverse engineering for the pirate faction nanocores. Again, I am super excited about these. I can't wait to see what they actually are and how they work. Number 9, adjusted the ship categories in the market and fixed the issue which caused some ships to appear in the wrong category. If you open the market right now, before this all goes live, go to cruisers, you'll see that for some reason, the Bellicose Covert Ops, the Bellicose 2 Covert Ops, the Blackbird Covert Ops, the Arbitrator Covert Ops, the Celestis Covert Ops, etc., are all in their own unique category of Covert Ops cruisers, whereas for some reason, the Arbitrator 3 Covert Ops, the Bellicose 3 Covert Ops, etc., are all just in generic cruisers. Same as when we go into like some of the frigates, you'll see that they are mixed up together into categories that don't necessarily make sense. It's a personal peeve of mine that as I'm going through the market, it's like, but that's not what it is. Why is it in this section? So I'm glad to see they are fixing that. It's very minor. It's a very minor annoyance, but it's an annoyance nonetheless. So yep, I'm glad to see that's being fixed. Number 10, now Dead Space modules of meta levels 6, 7, 11 to 14 can be reprocessed. Dead Space meta level 6? Really? Meta level 6 Dead Space? Is that am I missing something, or is this now the fact that we're going to be getting those sort of dark green things in there as well? Or are they referring to Dead Space modules here being things like Republic Fleet, Caldari Navy? Are they calling those Dead Space modules now? I thought those could be reprocessed, if I'm honest, but we now know the reprocessed materials here can be used to reverse engineer Dead Space modules. So you can reprocess your Dead Space modules, which will make various bits of gear, like you can reprocess your C-type small autocannons, for example, and then you can use the materials that you earn from that to reverse engineer some B-type modules, like B-type small autocannons, and then once you've got a stockpile of those, you can reprocess some of them into materials that you will then use to reverse engineer into A-type small autocannons, and so on and so forth. Now, I don't know if you have to use small autocannons to make C-type autocannons to make B-type autocannons. It's probably a case that if you've got a whole load of, say, strike cannons, you can probably reprocess those into the parts you need to then reverse engineer into the B-type autocannons. I don't think it's going to be so explicit that you have to take one module and upgrade directly, but I could be wrong, it could be. I would hope that, yes, you can get rid of strike cannons and then use the parts from the strike cannons to make autocannons. That would make a lot of sense to me and give players a bit more choice and agency, which I'm always all for. Either way, that's how it's going to work. You're going to reprocess your Dead Space materials, and then you're going to reverse engineer the more advanced Dead Space modules using those materials. And of course, there is a chance for failure, and if you do fail, obviously not only have you've lost those materials, but you've also lost the original Dead Space modules. I think that's the risk they were talking about. Now, the probability of Dead Space Anomaly spawning from bases has been lowered from 1% to 0.4%. Remember I said in a previous video where we talk about how special anomalies work, that things like the Scout and the Inquisitor anomalies have a 1% chance of spawning each. Dead Spaces have a 1% chance. It is now down to a 0.4% chance of a Dead Space anomaly actually spawning from a standard base in a system. It's a reduced chance because you can now scan down additional ones using a wide area resonance scanner, the WARS. Nihilist Dead Space gates are naturally spawned in nullsec systems, about 1 every 28 days per system. Since each instance of Nihilist space has multiple exits, the actual frequency will be higher. So that's how often a wormhole or gravity well will actually appear in any particular system. And that's in nullsec. We know the numbers there for nullsec, but we have been told these will appear in lowsec and highsec as well. We just don't necessarily know the rates for those yet. So, interesting. We'll see how that works. Number 13. Intumescent condensed asteroid belts are no longer naturally spawned. They now naturally refresh every 25 days instead of 40, and when refreshing a condensed belt, there's a 50% probability of spawning a Nihilist space and End space condensed belt instead. So this looks like you'll get fewer intumescent condensed asteroid belts. I think this isn't actually the intumescent ones themselves, rather the things like the decayed condensed belts and the cracked and the ones like that. I know it says intumescent, but it says intumescent condensed. I think that's referring to the condensed belts that then spawn from intumescence. But we'll have to see. We'll have to see exactly how that works. You know that Void will be, of course, watching closely to figure out exactly how this all happens. But either way, you're going to have a lower chance of the belts spawning in natural space, and a higher chance of them spawning into End space, which of course you'll need to either generate a wormhole into, a gravity well. I need to start calling them gravity wells. You either need to generate a gravity well using a capture layer outpost, or you'll need to scan down an unstable gravity well and jump through that way for them. 16. Dead space can only be discovered by using a resonance scanner. So it looks like now you'll be able to scan these down normally, and you'll have them spawn from bases, but you'll still have to actually scan them down from that. So it looks like basically the only way you're going to get dead space now is by having someone in your corporation or alliance actively using the WARS to scan that down, find it, sell the location, and jump into it. 17. Fleet commanders are able to receive bonuses from fleet group modules, so group armor repairers, group shield boosters, the different command links, that kind of things as well. That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool because, yeah, if you were a fleet commander, for some reason the game considered you outside of the fleet, so you never got any bonuses. Your fleet commander's sitting there taking all the hits with guardians and armor links and all that kind of things, just not affecting them, which really sucked. Glad to see that fixed. 18. Added a new attribute to ships called Source Radius, not Signature Radius, they're different things, which can be viewed on the fitting screen. Nice to see. It's an interesting thing now when I start talking about ships, I'm going to have to take into consideration their Source Radius, which is pretty cool. All sentry guns are fitted with warp disruptors, I love this so much, which can disrupt the warp drive of ships within 1,000 kilometers from the sentry gun, causing them to reset warp and preventing the ships from warping away. Bye-bye Lowsec Gatecamps. That whole thing of the guy who opens fire warping away to safety and the gate guns desperately trying to hit him and missing, yeah, it's not going to happen anymore. You open fire next to a sentry gun, that is going to hold you in position like the little bitch that you are, and then it is going to pound on you until you are little teeny tiny motes of space dust. I am all for this change. That is exactly what they've been saying, that they want Lowsec stations and Lowsec gates to be completely safe. But once you're outside of those gates, once you're actually in the system between them, yeah, it's a free-for-all. And I love that change. It means that, yes, going between encounters is much easier and much safer. But obviously when you're in those encounters, you can still be scanned down. Just don't accidentally warp to a gate gun because you ain't warping away from it. I am so happy about this. That is such a cool change. It makes the sentry guns really quite terrifying, because there's nothing you can do. If you get hit by a sentry gun now, you are locked. You are there, and it is just going to keep hitting you until you die. And I love it. I love it. 20, added the Concord Pass. This is the battle pass we were talking about. Complete missions to level up the pass for great rewards. So it looks like we're actually getting missions to level this up now, not just a do the thing that you always do, but grind it super hardcore, like we had for the hunt. That was genuinely one of my complaints for the hunt as well. Yes, it required a lot of gameplay and input to fully max out. I did it on my main character, who now has the Caldari capsule, which I don't use because the YC123 is just such a pretty skin. But none of my other alts managed to complete that because it was such a hefty grind. I didn't feel like I missed out all that much, but it just would have been nice if it were that little bit easier. You know, I would have, honestly, had it been easier to achieve, I probably would have paid for it 2 or 3 times across different alts in order just to get those bonuses for them, especially since I do have a Caldari alt, which actually would quite enjoy having the capsule to fit it. But hey, there we go. Nice to see that they've taken that into consideration. They have changed things up a bit. Again, I will put a video out tomorrow once this is live, which will talk about all the things we're seeing in Exploration now that they're live. What did we get right? What did we get wrong? How this Battle Pass works, sorry, Concord Pass works, etc. That will be out tomorrow evening. 21. Improved the calculation methods for estimated market prices. Each system is now more likely to return a valid and stable estimated price. This helps out so many things. That helps out insurance, that helps out audit timers. It's a big change. It's a minor change in that it doesn't really show up as much, but hopefully it'll be noticeable as quite a big change in the long run. You'll see fewer audits, and the audits are going to be of better times, and you'll have fewer things like insurance problems, etc. So I think that's a step in the right direction. 22. Space station docking distance increased to 5 kilometers to avoid the occasional 2 kilometer additional flight required to dock when using autopilot. I know one particular pilot who is going to be very sad that this is now a thing, because he used to have a great time locking onto people as they arrived, and doing that last little 2 kilometer drift would usually one-shot them with his tornado parked inside the station, and it was great fun to watch. So I am going to miss that, but at the same token, I get why they've done it. Gatecamps should be a thing. Station camps, not so much. Although you can theoretically camp a station, you're probably just going to get better luck camping a gate. Number 23. Compensations have been issued to players who owned Tier 10 skins, which have been removed from the game. I'm hoping this means they also take the Tier 10 skins that are no longer available off the market. For example, the Maelstrom Striker, that's not actually in the game anymore, so we need to get rid of that skin, otherwise people are going to buy it and then be like, oh, I can't use it, and that's going to be bad. Nice to see they've compensated people who did have those skins, though. 24. The estimated time for the request delivery interface has been changed to a dynamic time based on the distance travelled. Now, those of you who do hauling and sort of space tracking, let me know what that means and how that helps you, because I did get a really worrying email from a guy the other day who paid 11 billion ISK in terms of a, what do you call it, the collateral on a particular container, only to find that container had about 6 minutes left on it and was due about 16 jumps away in Amar, which just doesn't help anyone. Congratulations, you've paid 11 billion ISK to try and take this container to someone, only to it be an impossible task. That's 11 billion ISK down the drain, which stings. That literally, imagine you've just bought a Macariel and then the game glitches out and says, nope, sorry, you can't actually have it. That's painful. So this, I want to know if NetEase are fixing this. I've brought that up with the developers a couple of times now. I'm hoping that is something they are looking into fixing, because space tracking needs a little bit of love anyway, and no one wants to pay 11 billion ISK to literally just have it taken out of their wallet and get nothing for it. That sucks hardcore. But hey, there we go. Hopefully that's getting fixed there. 25. Drone control range renamed to drone command range, because it matters. I don't really see the difference here in the naming. I've talked about how I think it's weird that sentry drones can only shoot at things inside your drone control range. You know, because that means they're really not very useful on most ships. You need an excessive amount of drone command range now in order to actually be able to shoot at targets at range. If you want to be a drone sniper, you need to have massive amounts of drone control command range. even for those sniper drones to work. What's the point in giving them that massive range if sentry drones just can't be used? I think the rename doesn't really help clarify that. I really think that should just be fixed. It makes no sense to me, but maybe the developers want it that way. I would like a reason why they think it should be that way, because to me it just makes no sense, and it kind of ruins the fun of a lot of drone ships. I would love to sit in a Vexa sniper. Well, okay, not a Vexa sniper with sentry drones, because sentry drones are large, but you know what I mean. I'd like to sit in a ship that doesn't have massive drone control ranges, perhaps like a Typhoon. A Typhoon that can use large drones, or Tempest even. Tempest is probably the better example. A Tempest with large strike cannons, that's what I'm trying to say. Tempest with large strike cannons, fitting a sentry drone there, a couple of sentry drones into its drone tubes, and being able to actually fulfill a sniper role. It adds choice, because it means if something does get close, that is going to suffer while it pulls its sentry drones back and then has to swap to something smaller to get things close up. It just gives you more choice and variation on things like battleships, which I'm all for, but hey, I'm going way too much into a subtle renaming of drone control range to drone command range. Like, forgive me if I don't, like, froth at the mouth in excitement over that change. 26 added corporation hangar logs, which players can view to check item deposit withdrawal records of the hangar. So no more pilfering stuff from your corporation hangars when your CEO isn't looking. Yes. This is a nice change. It's been asked for a long time. I'm glad to see it has finally been added to the game. I would have loved this to have been a thing a long time ago, because then we'd actually know who it was who stole like several billion ISK worth of materials from our corporation hangars in Catskill way back when. Goodness gracious me, that was before Christmas. That feels like years ago now. But there we go. Nice to see that that's getting fixed, and we're finally getting that added there to the ability to see records from the hangar, who's taken what and when. That's nice. It's good to know. Added a permission for approving items from the corporation hangar. Now, when a player without permission tries to take out an item, a request will be sent to the admin. The item can only be taken out after the request is approved. Now, again, this is pretty cool, although I would like to see that automated a bit more, that if I try to take something out and it says, sorry, we need to ask permission for that, if someone then ticks the box, it should just automatically come out of the hangar into the station that it was at, so you don't then have to go back and remember which item it was you took. Because I can just see this being a case of someone trying to take something and you authorizing it, and then they go back and try to take an item from a different stack, and it causes an issue or something. I think automating it that little bit more would just be nice, in fairness, but hey, pretty cool either way. Pretty cool. We get a request system now for, I would like to take this particular item of loot out of the station. Allowing a bit more control over your corporation hangar loot is always going to be a positive thing. 28. The stand-up warp scrambler should now be displaying the correct name, and previous name was incorrectly shown as stand-up warp disruptor. Now, unlike drone control range becoming drone command range, yeah, this actually does have a genuine reason to it, because a warp disruptor just stops you warping, whereas a warp scrambler also stops micro warp drives. Whereas here, this is definitely a scrambler. It should have been a scrambler because it does stop the micro warp drives as well. So it does need to be a scrambler, not a disruptor. Minor change, but it's just good to clear things up a little bit. And finally, 29 updated the estimated prices according to current market transaction records. So in addition to actually trying to improve the calculation methods, they've manually gone in and changed the prices of things as well, just to help smooth things out. I know a lot of people complain about insurance and audits and things like that, and I get it. I do get it. But it's nice to see the developers are genuinely trying to keep on top of this. This, to me, is really, really exciting. We're looking at an awesome point here where we are getting exploration, we're getting a load of really nice quality of life changes in here as well, plus the ability to stop Lowsec Gatecamps, plus all the actual numbers for how exploration and that is going to work. I'm super happy to see that we are getting the scanners dropping in supply chests and in Mark 7, Mark 9 interbus and ore ships, that kind of thing. That's really cool. That's really cool. I now know where to go for those, so I guess I'll see you all out there scrambling to get those. And again, I am going to say, please, if you happen to get any form of resonance scanner, wide area or narrow area, whether it's Mark 7, Mark 9, one of the Scholar, or one of the Explorers, and you don't happen to want it, please contact me. If you're happy to donate it, please just set up a contract and send it to me. I will come to whatever high-sec or low-sec station to pick it up. If you do have one of the slightly rarer ones, like the Scholar or the Explorer, DM me. Message me here on YouTube or find me on Discord. Let me know. I'm sure we can arrange something to try and get hold of one of those. As I said, the sooner I get hold of those scanners, the sooner I can start working on content to help players out in order to showcase exactly how this works and showcase some best practices, etc. Anyway, that's me rambling on entirely too much about the patch notes. Hopefully you'll watch the original video first, the one that is the exploration update info. But hey, I'm excited about this. I cannot wait for tomorrow. It is going to be one hell of a weekend for me. And I can't wait to see what you guys think of it all as well. So on that note, happy sailing, and see you in New Eden.